Right, so I'm now joined by Jack, Ollie, and Luke from Blockade. How you guys doing?
Very
Yeah,
well, very well. Yourself?
Not too bad, thank you.
all good
Uh,
in the hood, man. All good in the hood. Glad to be here. Nice to meet you, or e-meet you, whatever they call it nowadays.
yeah, this is pretty much meeting nowadays, isn't it? Via Zoom. Um, so yeah, this is an odd one for me because I've known Ollie for a while, but Blockade is not what I would ever associated you with before. So, how would you sum up Blockade? And also, Ollie, how did you end up here at this point?
Yeah, it's a bit of a departure from kind of what I was doing last time we spoke, which was God knows how many years ago now. But I don't know. I think music is music. I like trying to push about and try new things. I can never remember the exact story of how it first happened. I guess it happened over Instagram DM during the pandemic, chatting with Jack, and I think I sort of weaseled my way into writing some stuff on some demos and sort of
Wow,
I
you
guess
do
the
your
rest of the story.
you do yourself a disservice. So we basically the band effectively formed without Ollie. So we had another singer originally.
Okay.
And it basically just transpired where I kind of was in a band up until I kind of went to university. I spent 3 or 4 years at uni, just like writing material and stuff, and not having a band and not having that creative output. So I then eventually kind of advertised on Instagram about looking for a drummer, as a friend of mine who was a singer was quite interested as well. Kind of got in touch with Jack, who's our drummer now. We got up into Pirate Studios and rehearsed together. Then we were like, probably need a bass player because we're not good enough to be Royal Blood here. So that's how we found Luke, which was Facebook. And then yeah, it just kind of we were producing these demos, and we were just never. I don't know. There was something about the demo where everything was on it, and we were just like, there's something not 100% here. And then Ollie and me have been following each other on Instagram for a few years. Absolutely love some of his tunes, especially is it Parma Violets or is it Violet
Oh, it's
Indigo?
I should know. It's my song. It's Lavender. There you go. Yeah, there you
Lavender, there you go. Yeah, it's an absolute banger, Lavender, that I'd had in my place for quite a while. And I was just chatting with Ollie over DMs, and Ollie said, "Oh, have you got any just instrumentals I can just riff with? I'm a bit bored." So I kind of rattled through my hard drive, and there was some very bad instrumentals, but also just all over the place, like John Mayer, country-esque style stuff to really heavy metal stuff. And Ollie picked one of our tracks, which we call The Wave now. And he sent it back. And at first, I just thought, it's just going to be, some generic Instagram singers just sung on one of my songs. And I listened to it, and I was like, oh no, wait a minute, this is really good. This is like the feeling I should have got when we did all the other demos with our other singer. So I sent it to our drummer, exactly the same response, and Luke was the same response. So I met up with Ollie. I pinned him down in a London Bridge outdoor bar. We had a few beers, and I was like, Ollie, we really need you on board. Look, we're all getting old. We want to do this. Like, are you in? And somehow I persuaded. I'm not sure whether it's because I got him drunk or whether I'm just a really good salesman, but somehow managed to persuade him to kind of be on board. And yeah, that's kind of how we've got to today.
So going around, starting with Luke, name one band that inspires you to write to create music.
Oh, that's a really tough one. But if I had to narrow it down to one, it would be like when I was 7 years old and I got introduced to Iron Maiden just because of their live shows and the energy they have on stage. I always thought like Bruce Dickinson, the singer, was one of my greatest inspirations because obviously he's like an Olympic fencer and an airline pilot, as well as being one of the most gifted and like influential heavy metal singers to ever face the earth. Like he's a true pioneer, and I love the man's energy. Uh, and I love his intelligence as well. So I think, yeah, they're definitely one band. If I had to just narrow it down to one, like huge inspiration for me, just because of everything they do and the creativity they bring.
That's a good shout. Jack?
My music taste is somewhat abysmal, I'd say. So I'm a bit of a vinyl collector, which is just handed down from my dad, really. But if you go through it, I've got like I'm talking first album Madonna all the way through to like Whitechapel death metal. Like it's pretty, it's good and bad at the same time. Like me and my girlfriend have a playlist that we kind of do every year where we just put songs we both like in. And honestly, today I'm going from Jamiroquai to Kylie Minogue to like Slipknot. It's just a bit crazy, but for me, most of the bands I like all tend to break up. So I'm trying not to name too many of them. Lower Than Atlantis were probably one of the first bands I ever like. Was like this type of alt rock, kind of underground, kind of grunge rock style. I really dig, and the kind of blatant, obvious like lyrics. So instead of it being all kind of metaphorical, it's all very straight to the point. I mean, they've got a song about trying to quit smoking cigarettes. Like it's really straightforward, and I just really vibed with them. And then that kind of spewed off to bands like Don Broco, who are still together so far. Fingers crossed they
At time
carry
of
on.
recording.
Yeah, at time of recording. And yeah, bands like Def Havana, who have kind of gone from a 7-piece down to just a 2-piece. But yeah, my influences come from everywhere. But those are probably the bands that kind of got me into going, do you know what? Watching Low Atlantis at Reading Festival when I was probably a lot younger, which I kind of miss, and going, I'd quite like to be up there doing that type of thing. And the community aspect of it, I think, was really what drew me in. I'm interested to hear what Ollie's influences are now, because they'll all be like John Mayer and Katy Perry. That's probably what I imagine.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of what I listened to, I mean, still now, but definitely growing up was, yeah, on the, I guess, the softer side compared to a lot of the kind of stuff that we make. I think it's transferred well. Like, I think we get a lot of nice feedback and some comments around kind of a more kind of a soulful sort of melodic vocal. I mean, I grew up on a lot of blues and jazz and funk, and I think that's always going to come through. Like Jack says, I've always been a big John Mayer fan, especially as a teenager. I thought it was pretty cool. And I thought that's what all good pop music should sound like for a long time. But since kind of doing Blockade stuff, I've started kind of broadening my taste, listening to some heavier stuff, like some of those acts Jack mentioned, Def Havana, Don Broco, but like that. It's been kind of cool to broaden my horizons, start bringing in some of those grittier elements, that sort of thing. But I think having pretty different tastes kind of has given us our Blockade sound, which I think is quite cool.
I think equally the nice thing about Ollie not coming from a like a really hard rock background is his approach to songwriting is completely it's similar but different. It's like I've worked with I used to play in like a tech metal band, and the vocalist was just like, "Can I scream in this bit?" That's all he basically used to say is, "Can I scream here?" And like it's nice to have the approach from everybody. So like even Luke's background isn't particularly in the type of hard rock that we do. So the approach to writing parts is somewhat different to the norm, and I think that's why part of the reason why it works so much. So I think we get compared a lot to bands like Nothing But Thieves because they've kind of got that hard rock element, but the more kind of clean vocal. And I think I can kind of see it, but I think we're right now in the process of doing more recording and more writing, and I'm really interested to see where in a year's time what we'll be sounding like, because some of the demos we're pumping out are similar to bands you know of, but I wouldn't be able to say it's 100% like this, for example.
See, one thing that I really like is obviously like you've already touched on about the clean vocals, and obviously your background, Ollie, is very poppy compared to the music that you guys are making, and I love that juxtaposition because there's some bands that do it really well where you have the gritty singing but then the clean vocals, but I think I've also brought that pop melody as well and mixed that in as well, which I think is really difficult to do with the heavier side of music. Because I can't really think of, besides Deftones, I think they're probably one of the best bands for bringing like almost pop melodies, but then obviously, Chino then does Chino-esque screams. But yeah, how easy is that? Was that just really natural for you guys just to kind of go, yeah, here's a nice meaty riff and here's like a nice little flowy vocal to go with it?
So most of our kind of instrumentals are mostly done relatively remotely, at least. So I kind of either me or Luke will be like, "Got this really tasty riff, you're gonna absolutely dig it," and we sit there and we go, "Okay, yeah, this is really cool." And I'll record that riff, and I'll record some other sections. I put some really cruddy MIDI drums to it, like I'm talking like really bad iPad Rock Band MIDI drums. And our drummer's forever telling me, "You always write me parts that literally no one can play." Our drummer gets it, records like his own drums in this little shed that he's got, sends it back. Luke gets it, sends it back with his part on it. Ollie gets it, he sends it back. And then we kind of do a bit of, oh, why don't we change this bit? Why don't we add that bit type of thing in? We don't really ever get all in a room, let's write right here, right now. It tends to be an idea starts somewhere and it kind of just amasses as it goes through everyone.
So it's kind of like a remote, kind of born out of COVID, remote working, and it's just kind of stuck as the band.
Yeah, I mean we've had a few more like writing days. So like Luke and Ollie are both very good vocalists. I can't sing for toffee, so I don't even go relatively near it. So for like Luke and Ollie have met up and done some like lyric writing and some vocal tracking. Me and Luke will meet up and do like a guitar day where we'll just sit and basically gawp at how cool riffs that everyone else writes are and try and write something similar. So like there's a few days we have like that. Like this Sunday we're all getting together to do some vocal recordings. So there's always we kind of start with the spitballing idea remotely, and then we all get together and kind of iron out, don't really like that section, or let's try this new thing. And even with the like 3 songs we've got out, there's quite a lot of changes that have happened in those on the fly moments. Better Off Without's got one in the second chorus, the second half. Ollie says "oh" before it then comes back into take your medicine or whatever it is, and that's my credit in the lyric writing, was just adding that "oh" in. So like, but you'd be surprised, like those little things come out when you're in a room together.
Yeah.
I think like the way it works often is we'll do that kind of demo remote, and then we'll inevitably end up gigging the song for a couple of months before we end up doing, we'll re-record everything, trying a little bit harder, getting ready. And that period between the 2 recordings, the song sort of settles. Like certain things you go, actually, I could change the word a little bit there so it's easier to sing, or somebody will think of a cool like kind of extra like riff to add in, kind of transitioning from a chorus to a verse, that sort of thing. And the song kind of it goes where it wants to go, everything settles, and then when you do the final recording, it's sort of just it just feels right.
So I did find the other day, I found all of the like original demos for Mess You Made, Better Off Without, and Avarice. We're going to do some social content around it, kind of showing you what it horrifically started as and what it turned into. But yeah, it would be interesting to, I think from our point of view, because we've heard these songs like 40 million times before they're even released, we know the process it's kind of gone through. So yeah, definitely be interested to see what everyone thinks about that.
Yeah, so you obviously said you've got the 3 singles out at the moment, which they've been released over the last sort of 8 to 12 months, really, haven't they? We've had them.
Yeah.
So how long has Blockade actually been going, like as you are now, as the group you are now? How long have you actually been going?
It's like not even a year, right?
Yeah, well, so we started, our first gig was July last year. So
Mhm.
we'll be gigging a year July. So I reckon, yeah, probably just under 12 months, really.
So how many gigs
Yeah, I
have you done
see.
then?
How many gigs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I try not to keep count.
I think we hit double figures.
I think, yeah, you probably aren't wrong. A few. Oh, I don't know. I can't actually log into my Facebook, so I'm going to have to use my phone.
It feels like a lot.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot around London, and we've started branching out, getting into other cities, which is cool. I mean, it's definitely hard to break out of that kind of home base bubble and pick up shows outside, but it's really, we're really lucky in London. You're sport for choice of venues, and also you're sport for choice with kind of other great local acts. So like we've gotten to know loads of other bands. If you open for someone once or twice, you'll invariably see them at other shows. So you can kind of trade tips, contacts, and you end up getting to pick up shows with other great bands, which is, I mean, that's my favorite part of the gigs of the last 12 months.
If you guys had to guess how many gigs we've done, how many would you say? Because I've just added them up, and even I'm a bit like, really?
Oh, what, 12 months? Yeah, definitely double figures. I'd say like 12 to 15, maybe. Yeah, your mic has mysteriously cut out. The tension is killing me. I want to know.
Sorry.
so sorry.
The answer is 17.
Oh, 17. Nice.
Yeah. Even I'm surprised at that. I was adding them up like, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, 17.
What's your favorite part about playing live?
Luke can answer this.
Taking my shirt off.
He's like our what's the guitar player from Def Leppard?
I don't know. He's hench. I don't know. I'd say like it's gonna sound super cheesy and cliched and like hippie, but like honestly, like connecting with everybody is like you can't see it, but you can feel like an energy amongst everyone on stage and everyone in there, and everyone's in tune with one another and feeling the same way. And it's like whatever you got going on in your life, like good, bad, or any of the rest of it, everyone like puts it aside for that, like those few moments you like share together, like on stage and off stage. And I feel like just like having that connection with people, like my bandmates and everybody in the audience, like we give it everything we've got, every show we've got, whether there's 5 or 500 people, we're gonna give it our all. So, and we played to 5 people before. We'll probably play to 5 people again at some point. Or there's sometimes those gigs where there's more people on stage than there is in the hall. But we give it 100% every time, and that's the way we're always going to be. And I think like just that energy. There's like not really many feelings like that. Like for me, it's like one of the best feelings in the world. Just doing something we love.
I mean, that is the best answer you could possibly give for that question. Is 100% agree. And like even like being in the crowd, like just connecting with music and just being in that moment is it's a special thing. Like you said, even if it's a crowd of 5 people or 50,000, that moment is unique for everyone, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
So
It's
what
a
is
great feeling to come off stage and someone's like, "That was a sick show," and like it could have been a complete stranger, and you just know that you've made someone happy with the art that you make. One of the best feelings.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So what is your plan for 2024 then? Because we've got the latest
Mass
single.
domination. So I mean, I think we're just gonna keep doing what we do well, which is we keep writing, we keep releasing, we keep gigging. Because I think for us, our biggest the thing that we all really enjoy is playing that show because, like Luke said, it gives everyone and us, to be fair, a 30-minute break from whatever's going on in their life, and just to be able to connect with people. I find with music, it's such a strange art form in lots of ways because if you're a carpenter, you can make a table and you can see it, you can smell it, you can touch it. If you make music, you're asking somebody, right, stop what you're doing, and for 3.5 minutes, just listen to this thing I made. And like it is a lot to ask because you know what everyone's like nowadays. They've got their attention span of about 10 seconds with things like TikTok and stuff. So to be like 3.5 minutes, don't do anything, just listen, it's quite a big ask. So the fact that these people are, coming out to see bands they've never heard of and watching us jump around like maniacs for 30 minutes, and then getting the beers in afterwards, I think that's what the kind of plan for the rest of the year is we got, I think, 2 or 3 more releases this year, carrying on writing. We'll jump in the studio again, or the remote studio, whatever you want to call it, and then just gig more. That's the plan. But outside of London is our main aim. So we just want to kind of get out to some new places, see some new faces, try some new Weatherspoons out, that type of thing, really.
Yeah, if any festival promoters are watching this, give us a call, hit us up. We'd love to
We're
play
cheap.
on the stage. Yeah, we'll do it for a meal deal and travel. But please help us out.
100%.
Best reason to have us. We're cheap. Don't even listen to us. Just book us because we're cheap.
Yeah, 100%. We literally our gigs run off Tenzing energy drinks and meal deals from Tesco. So if they just want to pay us in that, yeah.
It sounds exciting. I always like, especially new bands that's coming around because I love the fact that people are still passionate, still making music. Because everyone always keeps going about guitar music's dying, but it's not. I think it's just as strong as it's ever been. And then new guys coming through all the time. I think it's amazing, and I absolutely love it.
When
Well,
are you coming to one of our shows? That's going to be my next question.
When you come to Southampton or anywhere near
Oh,
Southampton.
do you know what? What we're really struggling with at the moment is, and I'm sure lots of others are at the moment as well, is that I mean these venues are closing left, right, and centre. I mean Mole's in Bristol, which is so prestigious, for it to just close is unreal. So like number one is finding a venue, 2 is finding the promoter for that venue, and number 3 is persuading them, please let us play for 30 minutes. So yeah, we are in contact with a few around your area. I can't remember what venues they cover. But yeah, you can always come up to London, day trip, lovely London.
I know it's London, isn't it?
Well, yeah, to be fair, I wouldn't blame you. So, but yeah, we're endeavouring to kind of get like Southampton, Portsmouth, Poole, that kind of way. We've done Kingston before, so we'd like to go back there. Up north, we've got some friends in Birmingham, so we're thinking maybe Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, do like a three shows in a row kind of thing, a bit later on this year. But yeah, it'd be awesome.
Can we call that a tour? Is that technically a tour? I'm calling it a tour.
Yeah,
more than 2 dates is a tour.
Yeah,
actually, more than 1 date's a tour, I would say.
Yeah, I've seen bands that have shows that are like 4 weeks apart, and they just list them, and it's like the tour, and I'm like, oh, is it really? But I suppose, yeah. I mean, define tour,
If you do nothing in between, then that is the tour.
it's true.
we're all gonna have to go to work.
Yeah, who needs to work? Who needs
Well,
money?
Luke once quit one of his jobs he had because, well, I don't know whether it was coincidental or planned, but we got our first royalty payment check in, and I think it was like $40 or something ridiculous. And literally, I put it in the band chat, and then Luke just put, "I've just quit my job," like, and he actually had.
I actually
Um,
had.
Yeah.
Why not?
Hate it.
It's been great chatting to you guys. Yeah, I really liked Better. Was it Better Off? The last single we
Was it?
had.
Better off than
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That was really cool.
Mhm.
Really enjoyed that. Excited to see what you guys bring. You said you got a couple more singles coming out this year, so that's exciting. And hopefully, yeah, if you come a little bit closer south from London, I'll try and make it along. 'Cause it sounds be cool.
Yeah, that'd be
That'd be
awesome. Dude.
awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything.
Cheers, guys.